it's Amanda from the Fundamental Home, and today I am making pasta e fagioli, and I'm using a different recipe. I've never tried it before, so we're gonna see how it goes. Ignore my messiness over there. And, anyway, I'm gonna see how it goes. I'm using the Martha Stewart recipe from a cookbook because my internet's down right now. So normally I plan to make this for lunch, and normally I would just use the recipe on my Pinterest page, and I can't access it, so I'm using the old-fashioned cookbook here, and it's a different recipe than what I'm used to, but I'm gonna give it a try and see how it goes. I'll show you. First things first, you need this hot Italian style turkey sausage. I mean, you don't have to use turkey sausage, just a hot Italian style sausage, and I use the turkey sausage. I got it for $1.50, so it's one of my favorite things to use in a lot of the different Italian recipes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my pot. Okay, so I can see that you kind of have me in a shadow, but I think you can still see what I'm doing. So anyway, what I pretty much do is I just take one of the sausages and I kind of twist it in the middle and then just dump out the stuff that's inside, because I don't have any like actual like ground sausage. But if you need ground sausage like you do in this recipe, then you can just take those sausage links and take them out of the skin. So that's pretty much what I'm doing here, is just taking the ground sausage meat out of the skin. And we're gonna discard the skin because we don't need it for this particular recipe. You could, if you wanted to, go ahead and just slice it and fry it up like that. But I think for a soup, it just tastes better when you have the ground meat. So anyway, it kind of looks gross, but I'm gonna just finish putting all of this ground meat in here. There's just 5 links, and once I have it all in here, we'll fry it up and then we'll get everything else going. Okay, here is all the meat dumped out into the pot, and I had a little oil in there first. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up into actual like little pieces of ground meat. Like essentially, you want it to look like if you had ground beef in the pot. So we're going to have a stove on. It's just starting to heat up. I'm going to keep breaking it up and fry it, get it nice and cooked, and then we'll move on to the next step. So just so you know, the reason why I do this first is because I want the flavor of this sausage to infuse all the vegetables that I'm going to put in. So I'm going to cook the meat, but then I'm going to take the meat out so I can do the vegetables, and there's a reason for that. And that's because in this Martha Stewart recipe, we're going to puree some of the ingredients a little later, and I don't want the meat to get pureed. So I'm going to need both my hands for this. So let me just get this cooked up and I'll show you what it looks like. Just showing you what this looks like. It's kind of broken up now, kind of like I said, like ground beef, and it's browning. And it's getting there. It's not quite done yet, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like as we keep breaking it up. Just gonna keep doing it. While the meat finishes cooking, I figure I'd show you what I am working on. This is the cookbook that I'm using, the Martha Stewart Living Cookbook. I'll put a affiliate link down in the description box. And I'm using her pasta e fagioli recipe, and it's on page 118. So I'm kind of changing it up a little because I don't think she has any sausage in hers, so I'm going to use my own version. But anyway, it calls for, and I'm going to double this. She also uses dry beans, I'm using canned. I'm going to double this recipe. So she says 1 medium onion. I would normally do 2 medium onions, but look at this. This is a medium onion. This is an onion that I have. It's like a super onion. I don't know. I'm going to use this onion, and I think that's probably more than 2 medium onions, so I might keep some of it for something else. And I'm going to cut that up while I finish with the meat. And then there's my bag of frozen celery. I'm going to use that, and dice up some garlic too. Okay, so this is what I'm going for. You'll notice that this is really brown. And whenever I make meat for a soup, I want it to be as brown as possible because it's going to be in liquid, and I want it to have that just good caramelization and that kind of crispier texture. So I'm going to take all this meat out and put it in a plate, and then I'm going to put some butter in this pan, and then we're going to add in our cut vegetables. And here we go. All the meat is out. I threw a little piece of butter in. I'm going to actually turn this down. It's already on a medium heat, medium-high heat, so I'm going to turn it down to a really low heat. I might need to actually put a little bit more butter in just because I have all of this gooiness on the bottom, which is really, really tasty. It's going to be great mixed in with the vegetables. So put a little bit more butter in, and then I'll toss in the vegetables. So my recipe calls for two cloves of garlic, but I'm doing a double recipe, so there's 4 cloves. And I'm getting ready to put that in with my onion and celery mixture that I've thrown in with the butter. But I let that go for a little bit first, since the garlic is going to be minced and it's going to be so small that it's going to cook more quickly than these larger chunks. So you can see how all of that good sausaginess is being absorbed and cooked down. I'm going to cook it a little slow just so I can make sure that it gets nice and soft and absorbs all the flavors. But I'm going to go ahead and use this. I don't know if you guys have a garlic press. I'll put a link in the an affiliate link in the description box if you don't have one. But this is pretty handy because I'm trying to do this quickly while doing other things. So it's nice to have a garlic press, and then I don't have to spend time mincing up the garlic. So I'm going to get this together. Okay, so the garlic's in and the vegetables are softening. I'm going to tell you right now, I wish you could smell this. This smells, I mean, just sausage in and of itself smells good, but all of this smells delicious. Now, in the recipe that I usually use, they use a mirepoix, which means they have carrots in here as well. But I'm going to try Martha's. You know, what Martha, I'm sure, tested this a million times. So, since I'm going for it, we'll just try Martha's, and with the changes of the sausage and the canned beans rather than the dry beans. So, here's hoping it tastes good. Smells good. Okay, so the celery and the onion and the garlic has cooked down. It is so incredibly fragrant and soft. I just have no words for this. So we're getting ready to add all the other ingredients so the soup can cook down. The recipe calls for 2 cans of tomato, diced tomato. Well, I am doubling this recipe, but I only have 2 cans of diced tomatoes, so we're just gonna, I guess, half the double recipe and just do 2 cans. So, and actually 1 can is a regular can, and the other can is a can with basil, garlic, and oregano, which is fine since this is an Italian style recipe. And we're going to be putting in some basil and stuff here in a minute. So I'm going to put the 2 cans in. Man, this smells so good. I have no words for you. You're also supposed to put in a diced potato. I went ahead and doubled that. So we added the potatoes in. And it calls for 3.5 cups of stock and 3.5 cups of water. So let me get the stock for you. Here's my stock. Yes, this stock is frozen into ice cubes. It's the stock from the turkey. So the recipe calls for chicken. Turkey's what I've got, and I think that's perfectly good. So this is really, really good with stock. So the ice cubes, 2 ice cube trays equal 1 quart. So 3.5 cups is just about a quart. So I'll probably do like 18 ice cubes. So let me count those out and get those in here. Okay, so I just remembered that I was doubling this recipe. See, I gotta keep reminding myself. So I actually had to put 18 times 2, you do the math, I guess 36, ice cubes in here. So those are melting, and then I'll put the rest of the liquid in. And you also are supposed to put in 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. So since we're doubling, that'll be 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. As soon as this melts, I'll put the rest of the water in. I'll add the water is supposed to be 3.5 cups. So we'll double that and make that 7 cups of water. And I should be able to fit that in here because it's only at 2 quarts and I got room for 2.5 more. So that should take me right up to the top here. So we'll have room for the liquid. We'll add some pepper, and then what we're going to do is we'll put the lid on. And we will let this cook. You're supposed to cook it. Oh, we got to put the beans in too. Put the beans in too. You're supposed to cook it for an hour and 15 minutes. But the idea is if you're using dried beans, you need to cook the beans. Well, we're using already cooked beans. So I'm not going to put the beans in just yet. I'm going to cook all these vegetables down for probably a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, and then I'll add the beans in for another 15 minutes at the end just to get them cooked through. And then I'll tell you what comes next. So let me get these melted down. We'll add the water, add the pepper, let it cook with the lid on for about a half hour, 45 minutes till this is done, and then we'll add the beans. So I added all the water and the pepper. It's pretty much up to the top here in my big pot. And I'm getting ready, it's boiling now. I'm getting ready to put the lid on and give it about a half hour. Okay, so you're supposed to cook on the side while this is going on 8 ounces, if you double the recipe because it's 4 ounces, but 8 ounces of small pasta. And I don't have any of the really tiny pasta that you use for pasta fagioli, so I'm going to use this gluten-free fusilli. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pound this. I'm going to just beat it until it's much smaller pieces, and then I'm going to cook it and use it like that. So will it be as pretty? No. But will it taste just as good? Yes. So I'm going to do that too on the side while I'm cooking everything else. I had to put it in a plastic bag, but I did beat it down, and this is about the size you need. It's much smaller than the regular fusilli. But that'll be perfect, so I'm going to get ready and cook that too. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put the beans in here. I'm running short of time, to be honest with you. And I'm pretty sure the potatoes are nice and soft, and that's really what I was waiting for. So I'm going to go ahead and put the beans in here. It calls for 8 ounces of dried beans. I'm going to put a couple of cans of cannellini beans into the pot, and I'll show you what it looks like. And these are the Dakota's Pride from Aldi cannellini beans, or white kidney beans is essentially what they are. And we're going to go ahead and put, I think I'm going to put 3 cans in. Okay, so I put the 3 cans of beans in here. And you can see that the beans are coming up in here. So I'm going to let this cook for another 15 minutes or so just to get the flavors incorporated. After that, we will add the pasta, which should be cooked by then. Well, let me just tell you this way. After that, we should be able to add the pasta because it should be cooked by then, and we'll add the meat and we'll be ready to go. And the great thing about pasta fagioli is it's perfect with like a salad and some bread, like some really thick crusty bread. It's like one of those things that you can almost get at Olive. I think they even have pasta fagioli at Olive Garden, so it's just really, really good for lunch. So anyway, I'm gonna get on this. Okay, so it's about time for me to get everything set up now. Here's my one issue. My food processor is here. And then way over here is the food that I need to process. So way over here is where I have to get all of that food. So I think what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna use my ladle, and I think I'm gonna use this KitchenAid mixer bowl because it's got a handle on it. And I think I'm gonna ladle it into the KitchenAid mixer bowl and then pour it into here to puree it. Does that make sense? I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm sure it'll be easier where you are. Just plug it up right next to it. Whoever built this house should have put a plug next to the oven, but anyway. So I'm gonna work on that in just a second. Okay, so I already did one small batch, and this is the other small batch I'm getting ready to puree. So I'm just gonna put the lid on. You can see I already did the other one, and turn it on. And I don't puree it down to a paste or anything, but I do get it pretty thick. And we're gonna take it over and pour it into the soup. I actually let that one puree a little too long. Okay, so I got all the thickness in there, and there's still beans. There's still some big pieces of tomato and onion and celery in there. I probably did about 2/3 of it pureed, and then the rest I left in here solid. So right now I'm going to add the meat back in there. It's in a paper plate for ease. So 1 pound of the ground hot sausage, hot Italian style sausage. It's not in the Martha Stewart recipe, but I like sausage in my pasta fagioli. And the only other thing we're waiting for is we're waiting on the pasta, which is just about done. So as soon as that pasta's done, we're gonna toss this in here. We're gonna toss a little salt in here, and we'll be done. It's gonna be good. We're gonna serve it. Okay, so here's the soup. It's all done. I put a little slice. You're supposed to serve it with Parmesan, and I didn't have any Parmesan, so I threw a little mozzarella. Not really the same, but it's got all of the pasta in it and everything else. Ricky's enjoying some. My husband's enjoying some. He won't let me show you him. That's his bowl, and he said it was good. I won't show Ricky. He's looking rough. But anyway, just say from the background, is it good?
Yes, delicious.
So, we like Martha's recipe. So.
Sorry.
All right, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and eat my soup. It's delicious. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm really glad you came to visit us here at the Fundamental Home. Make sure if you enjoyed this video that you click the like button and also click subscribe right below me for more videos coming into your inbox all the time. And also, if you enjoy social media, we've got links up at the top here for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, all the other fun things. And check out thefundamentalhome.com for more information about what we're doing all the time and how we do it, because there's way more details there. And here over to the right, we have some videos that I recommend. So thanks again for coming by, and we'll see you next time. Bye.